Hey, so this is Phil. What a strange 24 hours. Um, if you've watched the channel, you know who Prissy is. That's my cat, the little patchwork cat that sits in the window, and she's just cute as she can be. We've had her for 3 years. She was my wife's cat. I got her 2 years before my wife passed away. My wife passed away a year ago. And I just thought that maybe Prissy was missing some company in the house while I was gone. And she has always been affectionate. She has never hissed at anything. She has never uh, been aggressive. Now, every cat, this is something you need to know about every cat. Every cat has a trigger when they're playing. Okay? And they will switch off. If you're petting them, especially if you're petting them anywhere around their belly, these are vital organs, and the cat is made to protect those. So if you excite a cat, it's okay around here, but if you start going around the belly, it switches them off. So they'll grab you, and then they'll start kicking with their rear legs. And that's just a defensive posture. That's normal. Any cat will do that. So she has never been aggressive. But I've been going to the pound up here. We have I might as well just say it, Stafford County Animal Shelter up here. It's a wonderful little place run by wonderful people. And I've been going by there and checking every couple of weeks. And what I wanted to get was, I wanted to get a black cat. And I wanted to get a black cat that Prissy would accept and be friends with, and that they could be, buddies in the window, because we used to have 3 cats. Wanda and I had 3 cats for years. They would never fight. They felt like they were sisters to each other because they were all 3 females. They never competed. They never got into arguments. So I was hoping to get that kind of situation. So I went to the shelter yesterday, and there was this little cat that they call Zoinks. And she's just a precious little black cat. Absolutely precious little black cat. Perfect little black cat. But she was light. And I was kind of surprised about that. I was like, what's going on with that? It didn't matter, though, because I could tell she was a special cat. And I picked her up. I adopted her. Because I'm a senior, I get a break, and I adopted her. I paid a low price for her. Brought her home. And then something happened that I didn't ever expect. Prissy lost her freaking mind. She became a completely different cat. She was very aggressive. She didn't strike out at this cat. I'm going to call this cat Angel. They call her Zoinks. I was going to call her Missy if Prissy had accepted her, because they could be sisters, Prissy and Missy. But Prissy was not having it at all. She was not willing to share the house. She was not willing to share me. She was not willing to share anything in the place. And she was very scary. And I had never seen that before in 3 years. For her, she's been the most peaceful, loving cat you could ever ask for. But when it came to this little kitten, every time she saw that kitten, she hissed in a way that I recognized the hiss. And it's a pre-attack hiss. It's a hiss that they make that shows extraordinary discomfort with what they're looking at. And the other side of that is that's a preparation for attack. And Angel was half her size. Now I got her home. I got Angel home. I took her in the bathroom because that's where the litter pan is. and I closed the door. And I stood in there, or sat in there with Angel. I fed her, and I got her some water, and she tore into the food right away. And we went outside of the bathroom into the kitchen, and man, every time that Prissy saw her, boy, I got scared, because I was. It would. Prissy. All cats can strike very fast, and they can strike in ways that you would not believe how much damage they can create in just about 3 seconds. I mean, literally, they can create a fatal injury in a small animal in 3 to 5 seconds, because what they do is they attack near the neck, and then they shake, and they bite down very hard, and their incisors are made for this kind of fatal injury, because that's how they eat. That's how all cats eat. So I was hoping that given time, that Prissy would acclimatize. That her rage would calm down, and I kept Angel here for 24 hours, and Prissy was not calming down, and Prissy was just as angry and irritated. And one of the key things about it was the smell of Angel on my hands. When I put that in front of Prissy's face and she sniffed at my hand, she hissed at me. And she would have nothing to do with me as long as Angel was in the house. She wouldn't eat. She wouldn't go to where she sleeps to sleep. And she was totally possessed with this little black bundle of joy. Now, Zoinks was probably the most perfect little black kitten I've ever seen. She was truly one of the most beautiful little creatures God ever put on this earth. Because when she ate that food, I gave her some fancy feast that Prissy wouldn't eat, and she gulped that stuff down like it was steak. But she would go eat, she'd drink her water, and then she would follow me into the kitchen, and then she would climb up on my lap and she'd go to sleep. Or she'd sit next to me on the chair. I'd give room. I'd sit over on one side of the chair, and she'd sit in the groove, and she'd go to sleep there. Or she'd get up on the back of the chair, and she'd go to sleep, and she'd put her paw out to put it in my hair, so she would know I was there. So she is a special little cat. She's got enough love for a family, and she's at the Stafford County Animal Shelter right now. She's a special little cat. They call her Zoinks because they're naming her after. There was a week where they named the adoptee cats after a certain cartoon that's popular. But I call her Angel. Like I said, I was going to call her Missy to go with Prissy. But I'd never seen Prissy act like this. And I was very concerned every time that Angel went into the kitchen that Prissy would strike out. And so I took Angel back to the animal shelter. And it broke me up to do it, because you don't find perfect kittens in this world a lot. But that was a perfect kitten. And the strange thing was, what happened is exactly what I thought was going to happen. For 24 hours, Prissy would have nothing to do with me. She would not respond to me. She would not let me pet her. She would run from me. when she smelled my hand, when she saw me. And as soon as Angel was out of the house, and then I had sprayed the furniture with Febreze, it was almost like Angel had never been here. And we were back to square one. Now, Prissy is still exploring every corner of the house to make sure that she's not here somewhere. But that's a lesson to me. I won't be going back to the pound to try to get her any more friends. And because she's happy the way things are. And I mean, I'm happy the way things are too. I mean, she's a wonderful cat, and she's about 3 years old now, so our other cats lasted 18 years. So I have no doubt that Prissy will last at least another decade to maybe 12 to 14 years. But it was a tough 24 hours because when I saw, it's a strange thing when you own a cat. The same thing when you own a dog too. If you own them for decades, you start to learn what their expressions mean. And I saw a look in Prissy's face of pure heartbreak when she saw that little black cat, because she thought that little black cat was replacing her in my eyes. She thought that the little black cat was here to take her place when it wasn't. And man, that expression on her face, I'll never forget that. It's a strange thing to see cat's eyes that look like a human's eyes, big and wide like this, but not with anger, but with disappointment. It's strange. So anyway, long story short, I went and got a beautiful little kitten. I brought her home. The cat that I bought for my wife and that helped my wife pass on from this world and then helped me get over her passing on from this world just became a completely different cat. And little Angel, she ate 3.5 cans of Fancy Feast over the 24 hours she was here. Now I'd feed her, I'd take a can and open it, and I'd feed her half a can I feed them on a paper plate, well, on a styrofoam plate. And I use a new styrofoam plate every time, and I spread the food out to the edges. So it's almost like a pizza of food. It's flat and it's easy for the cats to eat. And I found that that's the best way to feed them because they don't stick their snout into a bunch of mess. You know, they are able to actually lick the food off of the plate. So anyway, but when Angel got here, she became comfortable with me in about 10 minutes. And she did use the litter pan this morning. She peed in it. She ate 3.5 cans of food and didn't do a poop that I know of once today. So she wasn't eating at the pound because probably she was nervous with the other cats around her. And I told them about this. When I turned her in, I said, she's a beautiful cat. She's a beautiful kitten. And she has enough love in her to fill a whole family full of love. And you wouldn't think a little something this big could do that. But I'll tell you what, man, when she was up here and she put that little paw on my head, boy, it busted me up. But Prissy is my child as much as Angel is my child when I got her. But Angel was not safe here, and so I had to take her back to the shelter. And her name is Zoinks at the shelter. But anyway, just a really weird, tough 24 hours. I think I slept maybe half an hour, probably twice last night, which I haven't been sleeping much lately anyway, so that's not a tremendously big deal. But so I just want to pass that on about if you have a cat and you start thinking, well, I want to get this cat a friend that maybe You know, I would actually recommend that you actually go through the trouble, because the kittens that are in shelters or the cats that are in shelters, they deserve to be adopted. Go through the trouble, try it, see what happens, and if you have to, take the animal back to the shelter. But at least you never have that question again. Like I said, I'll never do this again. Prissy has the house as her own for the next 15 years, and that's that. But if you want a wonderful little cat, there's a little black cat at the Stafford County Animal Shelter named Zoinks. She's a little female, and she is a bundle of joy like you would not believe. And that's Stafford County Animal Shelter in Virginia. So if you don't live in Virginia, don't worry about it. But it was a weird 24 hours. Kind of heartbreaking. Kind of neat. I'd forgotten about how wonderful it was to have a kitten in your life. And that all came rushing back with Zoinks. When I was a small child, I found a black cat under a automobile at a fire station in Woodbridge, Virginia. And that cat I adopted, and her name was Sneaky. And even my dad, that was hardcore, loved Sneaky. And that cat helped me through some real hard times, just like Prissy is. And I know that I would say this, if you are alone and you are wondering about adopting a dog or a cat, please go to the shelters. Please expose yourself to the animals. Please give it a chance and see what happens. In my case, Prissy just wasn't having it. And in fact, she was acting very dangerous to this kitten. So for the kitten's safety, I took her back to the shelter, and they're going to get her adopted out, I'm sure. So anyway, I hope you all have a great day, and I hope that everything goes well for you, and God bless you. And thanks for watching the video. Have a good one.